I think it's time to say that Pusha T has been on an historic run. A historic and historic, a prolific and amazing run. And I want to talk about it in a couple ways. I mean, one, there's just the rhyming and the craftsmanship and all that, and that's fine. I think that's pretty clear. But when we think about what he's done since 2018, all right, releasing absolute classic album after absolute classic album. Daytona, like one of the best albums of that decade. It's Almost Dry, an amazing album, which in any other 3-album run would be the best album, but it's actually the weakest compared to Daytona and compared to Let God Sort 'Em Out. Just got this yesterday on vinyl, super excited. And I want to take a second to think about what this run means, because it starts with an album entirely produced by Kanye, ends with an album entirely produced by Pharrell, and right in the middle is an album that is like half Pharrell, half Kanye. What is it that Pusha T has done that's so amazing? Yes, he's a great rapper, and he's got a great voice and great flow, and he knows how to really control his topics and all that. But like, how do you do that? How do you manage to work with like the two most important, influential, visionary producers of this century, and like almost exclusively with them, not even playing them off against each other, like playing them with each other and in this friendly spirit of hip-hop competition? So that's what I want to do. I want to try to say who wins this producer battle. All right, who has the better run with Pusha T since 2018? Ye or Pharrell? Now, but before I do that, I did want to spend a little bit of time just talking about this vinyl, talking about this album. It's been out for 2 weeks, largely credited as being an absolute masterpiece by most people. I think it really is. I think the discourse is interesting. I chose this cover because I prefer it to the Cause one, and also just for fun, back there you see a painting that I commissioned my brother. I was like 17 years old. This was back in the mid-90s. And I realized like all the paintings of Jesus, like they kind of stopped in the Renaissance. So like the way that Jesus is dressed is either like he was in olden times or like he was in the Renaissance. And people had no problem updating Jesus to the modern age up until the 1500s. So I was like, well, there should be Jesus driving a car. So I asked every artist that I knew, would you please draw me make me a painting of Jesus on the road, Jesus driving a car? And so my brother did that. That's Jesus driving to Emmaus. So anyways, that ended up being kind of a funny coincidence there. So, you know, the vinyl's good. It's not great. So Be It is not on this album. Which is like, it's a reminder of how well sequenced and how constructed the album is, that with So Be It not being there, you know, that you have the Birds Don't, Chains and Whips, and then So Be It, like just those going together. It's unsettling not having it there, but that's fine. I did want to take 1 second to address a criticism I got a lot on that album. I referred to Pusha T as making crack rap. I was wrong. I literally had no idea that was an offensive term. I did not know that coke rap is the acceptable term and that crack rap is seen as a racist dog whistle. I'm showing a little bit of confusion here, but I'm not fighting it. I totally accept it. It's just language changes. And I just want to take a second, because I am a language professor. Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review show hosted by a French professor. And it's fascinating that 3 years ago, I did a video on Boldy James and Alchemist's album, Bo Jackson, and the title of the video is Crack Rap is Really Weird. It got 19,000 views, 400 comments, and not a single person said, Skye, that is unacceptable, do not use the term crack rap. Now, that doesn't mean that it was okay that I used it then. It's just sort of pointing out the fact that I was a clueless dummy back then, and I was a clueless dummy 2 weeks ago, but now I've been corrected. And corrected. Shout out to my Grady fans. I've been corrected, and it's better that way. In my defense, I just I hate all cocaine. It's just a big bummer to me. I don't think there's any nobility in powder cocaine or crack cocaine. To me, and if you invent a new form of cocaine, I'm not going to find that interesting anyways. But I understand. It's a racialized term. The sentencing guidelines are horrific. It was part of how the American government waged a war on the poor in general and on African American communities in specific, and I totally get it. I totally get that it's a crack is a dog whistle. I had just never heard it that way. It's not helped by the fact, that like it's almost dry. I just happened to go to that's about making crack, and when I went to see Pusha T, he literally puts the recipe for how to turn cocaine into crack on the screen while he's performing. I just thought it was like, the same thing. I mean, I know it's not the same thing, but I thought that's what the term was. But anyways, so I just wanted to apologize to those who wondered, why did I say that? Some people saw me using the term crack rap and thought I was being willful, like I was being some kind of Joe Rogan comedian, not afraid to say the words that'll freak them out. No, man, censorship. It's not censorship. It's that language grows. Language grows as humanity makes its movement. As the arc of the universe slowly bends towards justice, you have to update your language and update the way that you talk. Fake ass comedians, okay? And just so you know, I talk about it a lot, your kids are going to cringe when you call somebody dumb, when you call somebody stupid, when you say that someone is feeble or spaz or an idiot. All those terms are going to be as acceptable to your children as the F slur, as the R slur, okay? That language is going to evolve those words out as well. All right. So anyways, I wanted to get that out of the way. Other general comments in my review, I talked about sort of, because this is the thing, people are going to be like, Skye, why are you always trying to put them against each other? Hip-hop is a competitive art. It is the only art that is explicitly competitive. Okay, that is literally a part of the art form. All right? Sculpture, you have to render something in 3 dimensions, right? That's sculpture. That's part of what makes sculpture. I don't know, if you're great at doing murals, you have to paint on a wall, all right? That's a thing you have to do. If you make hip-hop, you have to be competitive. That is part of the art. So in the Let God Sort 'Em Out, I tried to say, who won, Malice, Pharrell, or Pusha T? I thought it was Pharrell, but most people generally think it was Malice who won. I just think that's interesting. I just kind of put that out there. So let's get to the real debate, right? Let's get to the real debate, the center of this video, Ye versus Pharrell. Obviously, the winner in this is actually just Pusha T. This run is insane. Even if we take it out further, the fact that his career got started, really got started by being produced by the Neptunes. And then, when he left the Neptunes, he basically, there was a period of time they were doing mixtapes and stuff, but, he basically then immediately jumped over to Kanye. So, not just this 3-album run, but his entire career is, the first decade was with Pharrell and Chad, and then the second decade was largely with Kanye. That's insane. that's just insane. As far as, the larger producer battle that starts at the beginning of the century, I'm not going to be comparing all of that together. I think that's a little bit too much. But just for fun, let's just take these 3 albums. And the other reason I'm doing this is just to appreciate this 3-album run as just being an insane little thing. So what did I do? I made a scorecard. All right, look at that. I got the graphics department. All right, the graphics department. They were hard at work last night. We were going to have mussels and some beans and stuff, but then there was a food safety issue, so I ended up getting some Pontillo's pizza. It was nice. And I was making this. And so I went through all the songs, and I rated them out of 10. All right? There's the whole list. I'll get to it. This is based on a very strict criteria of what do I think. The scientific formula I used was me likey. All right, I love all the beats. Every single beat on this. Let's see, what is there's 32 The 32 songs on these 3 albums, I love every single beat, but I like some of them more than others. So, we're going to start off just on the Kanye, just with the album Daytona, which I think is just a crazy album. If you know, you know, 10 out of 10. Games We Play, 10 out of 10. Someone left a comment somewhere saying that Games We Play is an overrated beat. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. That's literally the crazy. Oh, there's another word you're not going to use in the next generation. Crazy. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. That is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They're like, it's the same 4 bars repeated. Have you heard the 4 bars? Damn, that little pause. Oh my God. All right, so that's a 10. Hard piano. I got hard piano down at an 8. I mean, that's a crazy beat. That's such a good, crazy beat. But still, that's not a 10. Comeback Baby, got that at 8. Santeria, I got that at a 9. Mainly just for the way it integrates 070 Shake. What Would Meek Do? Album ends a little bit weaker. We got 7 for What Would Meek Do, and then 7 for Infrared. It's Almost Dry. We're starting to head into the... This is goofy. This is a goofy-looking graphic. Let's see. Brambleton, I gave an 8. Let the Smoker Shine the Coops, I give a 7. I don't like that beat that much. I've been dreaming of the past. That's a 10. I know Donny Hathaway does most of the work on that, and whatever work he doesn't do, John Lennon does. But that's the way the song's put together. Oh my God. Neck and Wrist. I don't like Neck and Wrist. I gave that a 5. Just so you remember, that's good. That's got the nice kind of rumbling beat on there. I gave that a 7. Diet Coke, I don't like that much either. I gave that a 6. Rock and Roll, both of them are producers on Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll. Rock and Roll is produced by Kanye and Pharrell, starring Kid Cudi. It's a 5. It's fine. Call My Bluff, I think that's my favorite Pharrell track on It's Almost Dry. Give that a 9. Scrape It Off, it's okay, but they're just trying too hard to be poppy. I give that a 5. Hear Me Clearly, I give that an 8. Pharrell Open Air, 8. Pray For You, nice gospel-y, I give that a 7. And then we get to Let God Sort 'Em Out. I'm going to stop holding up that thing. That thing's goofy. Birds Don't Sing, I give a 7. Chains and Whips, I give a 9. So Be It, which is not on the vinyl, I give a 10. That's a perfect beat. It's perfect. POV, I give an 8. Ace Trumpets, I was kind and I gave it a 7. I don't know. I don't like that beat that much. All Things Considered, a bit banal, I give that a 6. Mike Tyson, give that a 9, just for the way it uses the vocals. Oh my God. FICO, I give that a 9. Inglourious Bastards, I give that a 9. Speaking of which, if you've watched my review of Let God Sort 'Em Out, now is the time to put in the secret code. I'm going to be giving away this vinyl. It was on sale at Def Jam for $10, and I bought an extra one for just right now. How do you get this vinyl? I put a secret code in my Let God Sort 'Em Out review. So you tell me. You tell me the code. And then I'll message you, and then you can... I'll respond to your comment in YouTube, and then you can message me on my email. All right? So I'll send that away. So Far Ahead, I give that an 8. That might be a little bit low. That's such a good beat. Let God Sort 'Em Out, not that great. That's a 7. And then By the Grace of God, that's just 9. So what are we saying here? If we take it all together, I did math, everybody. I did very, very, very fancy math to try to determine this. All right? What is the average score? Who wins on average? Well, the results might shock you. Kanye's average was 7.8. Pharrell's average was 7.7. So, that makes sense. Kanye won because he had the higher average. He won because Daytona is the best album of the 3. But, I hear you typing. You keep typing. Leave the comments. Smash like bucket. Subscribe. AVAA. Skye, this isn't quite fair. First of all, there's 20 songs that Pharrell released out of here, and only 13 by Kanye. So that's a very high average for much longer. And here's the other thing. I love Kanye, but come on. He's not sitting there by himself. He's the sole producer on only like 3 or 4 of those songs. Now, those are some great songs. If you know, you know, right? And there's a lot of really great songs there. But we know he's got 88 keys and FNZ and Mike Dean and all that. And we got Pharrell. And you know Pharrell is just sitting there just in his little spaceship. Just pew, 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 pew. So, God, do I have to give it a tie? No. All right, now I have to decide. Yeah, I'm giving it to Kanye. Sorry. I got to. But the reason why is that Daytona is just so damn good, and his songs are just so damn good. But this is why I like this competition, because it's unfair. It's an unfair thing, okay? It's unfair. It's like asking me, a Red Sox fan, in 2004, Manny Ramirez or David Ortiz. Man, I can't decide. I mean, obviously, Poppy's got the smile, and he's always so clutch. But man, he sets them up. Oh, right? Like, that's the excitement. Old baseball reference for you kids out there. So yeah, that's where I'm going to call it. You tell me. I did a poll on the internet, and Pharrell won 80%. So he's winning most people's thing. I can finally show off my little joke here. You know, so I had this album in the background for when I've been talking about it. This is Kill 'Em All, recorded in Rochester, New York by Metallica. And that's the beginning of the slogan, Kill 'Em All, Let God Sort 'Em Out. You see? It's a little cliche joke. All right. Well, anyways, you tell me, who do you think won? How long did this video end up being, by the way? Is this a long one? 17 minutes. Perfect. That's just the right amount of time. And you could be mad. Oh, and I don't agree with anything that Kanye has said in the last 6 years. Anyways, this is not an endorsement of his political statements. This is a comment on his artistry. Oh my God! All right, you love rap music? I do. All right, there's the camera. Wait, is there anything else I want to say? Oh, no, wait, don't forget the code. All right, put it in the comments. All right, there's the camera.